Um, we are back Wednesday and it is tour day. Let me just put my tweet out before I forget that. And just fair warning, I'm having the usual just scratchy throat, coughing, sneezing. Got a rather temperamental headache going on as well. So we're going to be kind of keeping it a little short today. I'll explain that more in a few minutes. But first, there's a couple of things I want to go over before we get into the tour. Um, Firstly, there is scheduled maintenance today. I believe it's at the usual time, 4 a.m. PDT, 1 p.m. CEST time. Whoops. The biggest difference this time is usually our maintenance is run anywhere from between like 15 minutes on a good day and like 3 or 4 hours on a more intense maintenance day. But today they're talking about 9 hours, like a full day's worth of maintenance. Some of the things I mentioned that's going to be changed up is for like world events, the residential renovation, they're adding some decor. Specifically, they're adding the Eldon Datasphere, the Caretaker, and the Sky Remodel Proto Pleasant to the production assistant vendor. And then to the Decor-O-Matic event vendor, they're adding the Ecosi or Coze, I don't know how to say that, Ecos NPCs, the laborer male, the laborer female, and the grumple laborer style one. So if you're looking for some NPCs along those lines or some of those other decor items like the Protostar Sky remodel, this will be introducing those items to those particular event vendors. They're also adding in some of the uh, medieval themed items to Madame Faye. I think that's going in as well today. That includes I think it's called the Jousting Fab Kit. So just a heads up on that so that you're aware that it's going to be a rather extensive maintenance. So if you're here live and you're watching and you want to get some playtime in today before that goes down, just go. You don't have to sit here and listen to me. I save all of these videos so you can always watch this later at your leisure so that you don't miss some playtime because 9 hours is pretty long, especially for it hitting at around the early afternoon for Europe players. And so, yeah, it's going to be like a sad evening without WildStar in the mix. There's going to be other things in the maintenance. I think they're also covering some in-game store changes. I think it's mostly just cosmetic looking. I'm not really sure about that. I know they changed like the web look, I think I read in the forums, and among other things. So just know that it's a 9-hour maintenance coming up, and you've been warned. Um, Also, um, yeah, 9-hour maintenance. When is it? It's 4 a.m. PDT, 1 p.m. CEST time. If you want to get other times or kind of, just Google up World Time Buddy or whatever it's called. I'm not really good with the time differences. But yeah, just fair warning about that, and hopefully everything goes smoothly. I don't think it's anything more major than that, other than maybe it's just going to take them a long time to get it set up and everything. In addition to that, think I think the boss thing, the event that they were having, is already over. But we did mention last week that they have posted all of the events that are coming up for the month. They do like at the beginning of the month, they do a little post to kind of give you an overview of what's coming for that month's events. And I believe, let me see if I can look it up real quick. Didn't bookmark this thing this morning, so I'm a little slow on the go here. Yeah, the residential renovation, the thing that they're kind of editing today to add in some of those new items, it starts on the 13th, so this weekend, I guess, and runs through the 20th. So if you haven't participated in the residential renovation event yet, or you've been waiting for it to come around for this month, again, it's a monthly event, it's a week long, and they rotate the core pool or whatever the loot that's generated each month. It rotates every, what is it, every month, but there's like 3 different packages, and so if you miss it this one, you have to wait like 3 months later, and then it comes back around. I don't know which one's coming up this month. They might have mentioned it in the the info on that particular post, but be expecting and a little reminder from WildStar themselves about that event in particular coming up. Anyway, good morning, ZDEX, Bones, Poi, and anyone else that happens to be listening. It's great to have you guys here, as always. So let's go ahead and get started. And yes, I did remember to bring a drink. I've been chugging on it already. So yeah, we're taking a break from communities this week. Like I said, I've got a raging headache. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's the changing of the seasons or something. Got my whole sinus thing going on and it's going wackadoodle, but it's pretty heavy this week. And I didn't want to just completely bow out of the touring for this week because I already cancel a lot as it is, and I feel poorly about that. And I didn't want to let you guys down this week as well. So I promised myself I would do a tour today, but we'd kind of keep it short. So we're uh, saying adios to the communities this week. Just to remind you, though, we did go through all of the winners, the actual first place winners and stuff, and all of the honorable mentions from the community showdown competition that the Carbine held last year. We are actually done with all of those. Any of the communities we visit now will be either those that participated that didn't win, or just communities that have actually popped up and are ready for viewing. Again, if you have any information about communities or individual plots that we have yet to tour, um, be welcome to pass them along to me. Doesn't matter what region, doesn't matter what faction. Um, uh, it doesn't even matter if we toured it again in the past. If it's changed enough where it deserves a retour, I'm happy to do that as well. I've done many retours in the past. In fact, there's a couple of plots I'm pretty sure I've visited them like 3 or 4 times over the past few years because they have evolved or changed completely to warrant another look. So don't hesitate to pass along those names if you come across any, or if you have any of your own, or have friends or frenemies or whatever. So yeah, we are on Jabbit EU, and this is Maddie's alts plot. I believe it's called Layla, and this is the Nexus Winter Olympics. From what I understand, this was something that they did in response to a request from their son. Um, I know it's kind of late in coming. The Winter Olympics is already done. But maybe with us entering the springy season, folks are kind of feeling nostalgic for the winter months because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not very good at coping with heat, the hot weather. And so I'm already kind of missing the cooler days. Um, Granted, mostly here we've had just cold wind and rain, but still having it too warm up here in the computer room can be a bummer. So I'm happy to kind of visit a plot that brings back cooler temperatures to mind. ATW. Um, anyway, so here we are at the entrance, and you can see it's just kind of built up with some all these winter style trees, snow covered pines. Then you got the brambles and the actual bushes and such. I think most of the really big icy bits are terra formations that you get from visiting the Arctera zone. This platform that we're on for covering up the teleport pad, if you kind of look, it's actually an interactable piece. It's called the Frost Forged Watchfire. So I believe we're looking at the bottom of it. I don't know if it comes with any sound effects. I don't see it actually like any embers or flames coming through, or if it makes a crackling sound. Again, I don't usually have my sound on during these tours to not distract me. But you can see it is an interactable and you can click it. So I don't know if that is quirky if a visitor happens to do that or not. But you can see it's a really nice item. It's got some nice texturing. It goes well with this particular theme of it being winter and having kind of like a frozen look to it. And apparently it's hollow enough where it fits up in here. Again, we've gone over in the past about how lots of people have trouble finding items that work to cover the platform like this. Typically, it's an item that's considered hollow. That could include rocks. I know there's hover part pieces that work. There's trees, and I think one of mine that I'm using is an upside down. Oh, it's one of the lamps from Shades Eve. I don't know what it's called. I think it's the one with the skull with the spikes and the little ring on it or something. Again, I'm sorry about not knowing the names offhand, but I'm sure if you kind of dig through, you'd figure out what I was talking about. But basically, even if the item is considered hollow, typically it has to be enlarged to a pretty considerable size. And you're kind of like tricking the barrier that actually exists over this into thinking that there's nothing actually being placed on it. Now, some items, like a lot of the grasses, the brambles, some of the flowers and plants and stuff, they have no collision anyway, so you can place them directly on, because I've seen others use like grass patches and stuff to kind of hide the metal of the teleport pad. But it's always fun to find items that work to make it look more solid than having the grass stuff. But you can tell they've managed to get it up pretty close, including the Arctera formation in the back, right up along the border. Probably one of the faves for covering is the upside down snowy hills and the upside down massive umbrella tree. Now the tree, you don't have to size it up as much. You can keep it kind of relatively small, so you'll see those that use it, and the little raised area is pretty minimal. I think if I remember correctly, if you use the upside down snowy hill, that one you have to size up pretty big. I think it extends like way out, because I've used it on a couple of my plots as well, and it just the way it works, I don't know if it's how deep it is or what, but that little sweet spot for being able to place it over the teleport pad where you want it, it has to be sized up pretty big. Other items like some of I think it's the gray stone that you can use. It comes in hollow. Now the one that's the sandstone version, that one isn't hollow, strangely enough. So you can't use its counterpart, but the gray stone will work as well. But if you need some advice over what items you could or couldn't use, and maybe even the codes, the KBT codes that you can just pop in, which doesn't always work. For me, it never worked. I had to get Bones help me with mine. You can look in the housing forums. Now, I don't know if Google search will help you much, because with the forum change, a lot of those archived files or threads don't pop up as well. I mean, they show up in the Google search, but when you go to click the link, it doesn't come up properly because of the change of the forums. But the search tool in the new forum layout works pretty good, so you should be able to find it that way. But if not, hopefully someone will bump the topic in the housing subforums where you'll see it. I don't think it's one of those that are pinned threads, unfortunately. So, but yeah, again, if you are looking for suggestions, probably housing chat would be helpful as well. A lot of us are more than happy to answer questions. We'll happy to answer them here, but I'm not going to go into too much detail at the moment because no one's actually asking for that information. I'm just kind of throwing it out there anyway. Um, the rest of the materials, like here, you can see for the actual Olympic sign and the archway, I believe that's hover part pieces. And this one, the archway specifically, is also been trimmed in the red moon lights. Uh, Again, I don't think these lights actually give off actual light. I'm not even sure if they count towards your light count. It's always kind of tricky with the lighting stuff. I do know there is I think it's a Google Doc or spreadsheet, and it's actually linked in the resources section that has a whole listing of light features, which includes information about like the color of the light, if it actually counts against your light decor count. Um, uh, I think if it actually emits light and where you can purchase it from, or how you obtain it. It's got a ton of information. So if you're kind of curious about that, that's a real helpful resource for builders. For a house plot, I believe it's 5,000. It's like 2,500 in and 2,500 out. So if you have and what I mean by in and out, you've got exterior, which is what we're at now, and then if you have an instance house like a bunker house or a prefab, spacious house or a cozy house, those have 2,500 max interior. So 5,000 total is what you can have in your crate, which is kind of unfortunate. I don't like the crate limit per se. I would like to have like unlimited storage. That way I can just keep everything. But as far as placement goes, it's 2,500 in and 2,500 out. Oh, Digibones? Yeah, I did mine a while back. Now I've gone from, I used to be Signature, but I think towards the end of last year, I let it run out because I'm not playing as much as I was before. I still have access to be able to visit plots. I just don't have the signature bonus that I used to. So I don't know how that works. I haven't really checked, but I assume I get to keep whatever I purchased before. I just don't get to expand any further if something comes up unless I resubscribe. But yeah, now I think that's the max. I don't know if non-signature players have that. It might be actually less than that. But yeah, uh, it's something to work towards if you don't have it yourself, because you can purchase it, I believe, with Omnibits, if I'm not mistaken. Because I'm pretty sure I don't pay like actual cash for cash items. I use my bits, um, other than the signature service that I used to have. But yeah. Now, if you have a community, if your plot is part of a community, I think the individual plots are the same as far as decor count goes. But I think the no man's land, the trim or the communal areas of the community, I think you get an additional 4,000 or something, 4 or 5. I think it's 4. And we've seen from all the communities that we've been visiting over the past few months that that's still quite a bit. You're still able to do quite a lot, and as far as building in the transition between the plots and such. Yeah, that's kind of what I did, Bones. I just splurged on it because I wasn't really spending them for anything else. I'm not like a gear hog, or I have costumes and stuff, but I don't like I go out of my way to grab all of those thingies. So yeah. Okay, so notice the pathing. I believe the edging here is the bottom of that rusty fence thing that I mentioned before. We've seen some other people use it as like curbing. Now there is actually a curb or street edging decor pack that you can get, but it's I think it's Dominion themed, if I'm not mistaken. Comes with like ramps and long stretches of pathway and stuff. you can see here, they've used what looks to be like some of the Osun Arctera bits, because a lot of that has that frosty look to it. Which one specifically, I honestly don't know. I know there were some that has like the soul frost oozing on it, like some of them has tubes or uh, soul frost, like little patches of animated bits. But now I don't know if those are, it's the same on the front and backs of some of those. I think it's like the backs are smooth and the front part would have all of like the Osun heads and bolt looking things and whatnot. Yeah, single name. I don't know. I kind of like that we were able to give it a surname as well. I don't remember when that kicked in. It was pretty early on, though. But glad you made it back. I hope you've enjoyed the changes that they've been able to incorporate over the period that you were gone. Notice the little lamps. These kind of remind me like Asian lanterns, like you would see. Uh, it's probably an even simplified version of what I've made in the past using glass, but I believe it's just hover part pieces. And basically, to make the box, I think it's a couple of pieces actually like locked together to make the whole box. Kind of hard to tell, but I think that's what's going on. And then the lights, the same lights that they're using here, they're just using here. They just covered up part of it and left it a single window showing. I thought was kind of nifty. This here, the little basin or whatever it is, again, it's a brazier or brazier. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. I always say brazier with a z sound, but I think that means something else. That's how I pronounce it, so, sue me. Um, I don't know if it actually comes with this multicolored fire or if it's a particular color and they've added in the multicolored fire, because I know in the fire decor pack from the gas shop that there is a multicolored fire. So uh, I think it's probably the two items together, the multicolored fire and the brassiere, to create this little rainbow fire pit for in front of the sign here. Notice the base. I believe those are called the edge pieces. I use it a lot for like tables, and I used it for like the arched ceiling in the catacombs for Shades Eve build. But I thought this was really nice and neat. It's simple. I mean, it's just the same piece over and over to build that round, and then just multiply to make the little symbol. But it's cute, easily recognizable. Everybody knows what that stands for. Follow along the path and we come to the main building. Now, I believe this dome, which is super cleverly built, and I'm sure it probably was aided with the help of the KBT add-on, but I know Maddie's like an exceptional builder, so probably they could have done this by, just winging it, out of, like by hand kind of thing. But if you look closely, it looks to be those Osun chain links. You can see the spiky bits on the links themselves. Now, I don't know if they took the time to put glass in each one. It looks like they did. So you can imagine how many panels of glass there are and how many of the links are being used for the dome. It's just a massive amount to think about putting that in, but let me see if I can get a good shot. You can just see it's not a full-on dome. I think it's a little bit of a oval shape maybe, but it's pretty close. If I can get up here to a good spot just to get a better view. on my hoverboard here. You see how they've kind of capped it with the snow bits. But isn't that an awesome structure? I mean, that could be used for so many different kinds. That could be like a battle dome kind of thing for somebody that's going for more of a like Mad Max kind of look. But how amazing is that? Just being able to produce a shell like that. I mean, we don't have, I mean, we have a few like dome items, but nothing that's, you know, actually see-through. Probably the closest we have is that one that's kind of elven-y and it's got like the little missing bits on the bottom. But this is just awesome. Now, we've shown how to do glass domes in the past using just the glass panels, but this works beautifully. Being able to hide in that glass in those chain links. Just, it's awesome. It's smooth. It looks like it came that way rather than being actually a custom built item. It's just awesome. We're going to visit that last though. I'm going to visit all of the stuff on the exterior first. So we'll delve into more of that as we get into it, and I'll go around all the edges, checking out the little different decorations and stuff, and then we'll take a good look inside. Over here, this appears to be, I'm not really sure what this is. It's probably a specific event. I just don't know the name of it, but it looks like there's some uh, spectator benches here, or bleachers, or seating, or however you want to say it. I think this is carved wall, and it's just been tiered down, so it looks like some seating. And of course, they've got the hover part piece on the top, acting as a kind of a canopy. And then, of course, since it's a winter plot, they've taken the time to coat the top of it with snow clumps. Oops. Over here we have a faux door. Now this is I think it's a Dominion only item. It's the cryopod bottom side of it. On the other side, it's kind of bulbed out with a little window kind of thing for where you would like look in and see the person inside, I guess. We see this used a lot for doors and such on like spaceports and spacecraft, but here they're using it as a door as well. Again, that red moon light, big fave lately. The little circles here for the Olympic emblem, again, I think it's just probably bowls being used, and they're just sunk down so you just see the edging of them. Yeah, the cage thing is definitely crazy awesome. Crazy awesome. Now the edging here that you see where it looks like it's got rivets and stuff, again, that's hover part pieces. If you look closely on a lot of the hover part pieces, it's got this nice riveting pattern here with a little crosshatch. And that's what it is. If you look on the other side, you'll see the actual wood panels of the hover part pieces. It's more recognizable. Again, lighting, and then the snow. I believe it's the snow blocks being used for the path here. Oh, get up there. Low. So yeah, I guess it is the ski jump thing where they come out this faux door. It's the spaceship window, I think. A lot of us uses for doors. Notice the tower though, again, it's those lights, hover part pieces, and then capped with some snow and some of the icicles. So presumably you'd have your participants, you know, just ski their way down and poop, and then land as far as they can. And I guess this little bit here is like the measuring. So like here you have the little red line. And I assume these are probably edges of either this or some other kind of wall. The red line, though, appears to be those firecracker fireworks from the Starfall event. It's one a lot of us have been using for like Asian themed plots. We like it for like the red for the like bridges and the I can't think of the name, the archways and stuff. It's got the like the little red bits on it. This is a very much used item here, and they're using it as the little red line for the end of this particular event. Let's see, we got some little snow lop. Again, there are actual snowballs, but they're a little bit harder to get hold of. And they're not perfectly round. You can see they have grooves and stuff in them, but here's an example of what they look like. So obviously someone's getting ready to build a third one. The little hats for the snow lop and I think the noses too are some of those fireworks, again, from the Starfall event. I don't remember where that lands exactly in what part of the year. I don't know if that coincides more with uh, like the Independence Day kind of thing. I'm not really sure. Um, that said, if you haven't unlocked the Starfall firework items, you can become roommates with someone that has, and they can purchase those items for you and drop them off in your crate, and then you can use the items freely, you know, however many they purchased for you. And the same is true for some of the daily login rewards. I remember purchasing a couple of those uh, crane things for someone that didn't have it unlocked yet, and they were desperate to have that on their plot. So it's something to consider if you're dying for some of these fireworks and just haven't been around. You know, maybe for some of our newer players that just haven't had the opportunity to participate in that particular event and are, you know, anxious to have some of these items to try out. Just become, you know, roommates with someone that's already unlocked it. You know, make sure it's someone you trust. But yeah, they can purchase those items for you. Okay, over here we have a little ski lift. I'm not sure what all's going on here. I think this is that Exile fence post. It's one that's often used for uh, like plane landing strips. Um, I think part of this might be a different item. Which one, I'm not sure. It looks like there's rope here, so I want to say it might be like the dredge windmill thingy, but honestly, I'm not for positive on that. I know some of this is hover park pieces, the domes, the curved glass, that kind of thing. Looks like there's even a light inset in there just to kind of brighten it up. The chain track thingy is of course the hang chains. That looks like the normal ones, and I will remind you guys that those do not have collision. The Osun version that was added later does. So if you want chains that will actually act as kind of a barrier, like if you're using them for like part of your balcony or something, use the newer version, the Osun one with the little extra clamp on the end, because those will actually prevent people from walking off of whatever path you have them. These you just walk straight through. That has pros and cons to it. Con being that you can't actually chain somebody inside an area with the chains. But a pro is like we've seen people use them as like beaded curtains. They'll just like line a bunch of them up in front of a doorway, and it looks like a curtain type of effect, but you can pass right through it, which, you know, is helpful in some respects. The little seats here, these are actually those Winterfest emblem, I think is what it's called. I always think of it as, it looks like a biker helmet to me. We've seen some people use them as boats. I've used them as like little hover machines, cars, or whatever you want to call them. This one is being used as like a little kiddie seat looking thing. It's two of them together, kind of just sandwiched inside, and then for the little seat belt, it's just a hanging cable. The little connector here, I think that's part of the spaceship stuff. For the space chase, there's like the phalanges, wings, um, cockpits, and lights and vents and stuff. And I think this is one of the lights that they're using for that. I think it's just a single piece. It might be two sandwiched together to get the look the same, but I think it's just one. For the bits here, I'm not positive what's being used for the little stick part or the pole. I would have suspected it was like the what's it called, the sparking wire, but I know for a fact the sparking wire has no collision and you can walk right through it as well. But this one seems solid, so either it is a string from, I don't think it's the balloon because the balloon one would be moving with the wind. So honestly, I don't know what that is. It could be a string from like one of the hanging animals, like the lizard, or something like that. I don't think it has a little loop on it. The one from the berries, I think, actually has a metal piece, so I don't think it's that. For the little bracket, again, it's another one of those Osun Arctera trim bits, probably or possibly the same item they're using for the pathway. Um, and then these are the portable hologram thingies. It's the short one. A lot of people like to use for like their spaceships, bling them out with a little bit of animation. We've seen it used for showers and like teleport rooms and all kinds of stuff because the animation here is kind of fun to play with. I'm up to the tippy top, and you can see we're right on the border here. They've managed to set it up, get a good like overall view from above. I don't remember what the sky remodel is called, but obviously it's the one with the fireworks. Up here, again, I don't know what these events are called specifically. It's the one, I guess, where you want to go around the flags and zigzag down the hill. And I guess this one's the same, but it's just these little corner pieces. So again, it's hover part pieces for the little archway. We've seen, and I think Maddie is one of them, used in a lot of home structures where they're using these for entranceways. It's just a nice shape. It looks like a leaf, actually. This here is the Dominion-based fencing. If you don't want red, you could go with like the Ichthian, that's a blue. Of course, with the color shifting, you might get some other shades in as well. For the little flags, it looks like just triangle pieces. I honestly don't know how they're getting them to go blinky like that. I don't know if it's a light that they've put down below and it's just glowing off of that or what. And again, the pole part, I couldn't say for sure. I have absolutely no idea. And then of course it just looks like maybe one is shaded red and the other one they leave like the usual color. And then here it's the same, just enlarged. Again, I have no idea what lighting they're using to make the glowy bright. But you can tell it's very brightly lit up. Over here, they actually spelt out the word finish, and it's using those lights that we've seen from the beginning. Slalom, is that what it's called? Okay, I'm glad somebody knows what it is. This part, honestly, I'm not sure what this is. It looks like the legs of something. Um, but I don't know. This part looks like travel posters, like the backs of them. But this part here, I honestly don't know what that is. It looks familiar, but I think because of the size, I can't really say for sure. So yeah, I don't know what that is. Again, snow clumps and icicles to give that illusion that it's been snow covered here. And then hover part pieces for the little canopy. Again, I think these are wall edgings, the lips on it to just make the illusion that it's a little stair step seating. No, I'm not gonna even try to mimic somebody skiing through this. I will point out that while this builder has been happy to leave it as if there's no actual participants, it wouldn't surprise me if someone built something similar. We've seen it in the past where folks have actually used NPCs and then used either 2x4s or other items to represent skis and such to actually populate it with winter uh, revelers or whatever you want to call them. Um, this one I think is more set up for if like maybe a role play troupe wants to come out here and have a ball about, you know, having people use their hoverboards or something, pretend like they're skating down or whatever. So they've left it pretty blank as far as NPCs goes, but it wouldn't surprise me that we've seen others with like skating rinks and uh, people sliding down on sleds and such. So it wouldn't be that big of a stretch to throw in some NPCs participating in these events as well. Now, notice some of the items don't show up due to what do you call it? Not resolution, rendering. Um, that's true of like the sign itself. Those lights, as they get smaller, you use a smaller size. The further away you are, the less likely they are to show up. It makes it difficult for, like, say, if I wanted to take a screenshot from the top of the hill, a lot of the detail is lost. So in a screenshot, people wouldn't be able to tell that there's actually a sign there. They can see the banner kind of, and it's even kind of see-through from this distance, which is weird. And a lot of the flags are missing from the poles or faded out. That's a price you pay as a builder as far as what items you're using and how, because we've seen in the past where I will be building a house, you know, in the middle of the plot, and from the entrance, like all the walls are missing and it looks super weird. That's why a lot of times I build like specific paths where that forces a visitor to come up closer before they actually see the house structure, so that they actually see it as a solid thing when they first witness it, rather than letting them see it from afar. And that's because of the rendering situation. It's something to do with it to help lessen, I guess, the strain of having things load up completely. I'm not really positive on that, but yeah. No, I'm not going to show. It's like asking me to do a jumping puzzle. I'm lousy at that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll just leave it to you guys to figure it out. You come visit the place yourself, and then you can have a ball with it. So again, the lights for the lettering there, and the bowls, I presume, for the circles here, for the little announcement board or whatever. Again, it kind of reminds me of the bulletin boards we saw at the Kingdom of Dennis community that we visited not long ago. It's this time, instead of 2x4s, they're using pillars for the little cap on the top. And then, of course, one of the red moon panels. Yeah, but I'm so lousy at the jumping. I'm like the worst at those like platform games, and that's why I tend not to visit places that require me to do a lot of that because I'll just get stuck and you'll never see anything. I'm not sure what this is. I don't know if it's like some kind of like avalanche protection or something where they have the barrier up, but I think it's just Cassian pillars for the little bracketry here. Again, for this little building here, they're using hover part pieces for the base and the top, tapped it with snow-covered snow clumps, I guess, and then the icicles, and then those lights, lots of those lights. I think this light has become a big fave because it's kind of like does the same thing as the metal divider with how bright those windows are. Um, uh, so it gives the illusion that it's giving off light even if it isn't actually glowing. And this is much more flexible as far as not having that whole divider that you have to incorporate. This is actually a little bit more narrow. So they get away with being able to make these curved shapes just by slightly turning it a little bit. Couldn't get the same effect using those dividers at all. The dividers, though, are a big fave for like Asian builds where they're looking for like that rice paper door effect. Um, let's see, for the decoration outside, I think it's just color shifted orange floors with different little posters and such. A little entrance. I think this leads to the bunker house, maybe, not for positive. We'll check it out here in a little bit. This here is just the kugels with the Cassian handle stick thingy. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's the wall one. I think it's the one on the big long pole, and you just don't see the pole because they've inserted in there. Let's see, some outside eatery bits. This part here, the glowing top and the base of the table, it's basically an upside down tree shelf. It actually extends further down into the ground. The top appears to be hover part pieces. Which one and how they managed to make that pretty pattern, I haven't a clue. But I'm sure if you experiment with some of the pieces, you can probably figure out how to make something similar. But how beautiful is that? Just the way they've put it together to make it look all snazzy looking. They've added in, it looks to be um, one of the, yeah, the Osun lanterns, the orange one. There's a blue one as well. And of course, with, again, with the color shifting, um, you could change it up a little bit. And of course, the stools are the Red Moon stools from the Red Moon decor set that you can purchase. No clump to top them off. This, what's this called? The, I don't know what this is called. I'm sure one of you guys know. But again, this is that cryopod thing that they were using for the faux door at the first little event we come to. But this is the other side. So you see that it's got handles and it's got the little kind of like veered over window open door thingy. What does this try to see? For the snow here, they're using the snow blocks, I think, and just insetting it into the hover part pieces that are being used for the track itself. I think it's maybe not the blocks, but the oh, the archways one, the curved one. gonna run up this path here. And no, I'm not gonna hover park down it. Here's the top. And you see it's another great place to come for some overall screenshots of like the dome part. You see the ski jump over here. There's where we came in, I think. Yeah, just right there. You can see they're pretty sparse on the actual landscaping, but it seems to fit. I think they could have, if they'd wanted, to encase it all in these Arctera bits all the way around. Some of us do that, some of us don't. But I think they get away with using these oversized bits just to make it look like the snow just goes on, and it's kind of in a little bit of a valley. Excuse me. So I think it works really well. They get away with just using minimal amounts, and that leaves them room for all the other detail, like the dome itself. I'm sure that used quite a few pieces, and you can see how many of these little blocks they had to use for this track here. Water. Okay, for this little structure, again, lots of hover park pieces. Probably pillars here, and then those lights, both along the edge and here as well. Little color shifting to make the cryo pad different in color. I think this is one of either it's a landing pad or it's a barrel. But look how smooth this is, them just blending this in to have this little pathway. Maddie's done this quite a bit in their builds, among others, but it's not an easy thing to plan out, trust me. So yeah, we've got the faux door again. It's two pieces. It's the spaceship window, and it's also the cryopod thing again for the little uh, like doorbell looking thing. I'm not sure what that is. It could be anything. But how awesome is that? Have that little like corkscrew kind of stairway. That would be great for like a lighthouse. I'm starting to lose my voice. Lighthouse kind of thing. We've seen people use it not where it's see-through, but actually just have it for like underground and above ground kind of setup and having that run smoothly. Nicely done. Excuse me, I'm like choking on the throat. I was going to check and see if this actually is covering up an entrance or something. It doesn't look like. Maybe there's a tunnel that leads into it. I suspect it might be an instance area there. This here is a faux area, so go ahead and take a look at these little eateries. Again, a lot of color shifting on some of the doorway items and such. You got your curved glass for the platters. I think one is an actual plate, and the other one is probably the underside of a barrel or plate as well. Notice they're getting away with using some of like the gingerbread items. The stove is a combination of an actual stove, and then they just extended it and included the little tabletop grills. Now there's an actual functional door here, but I don't know if that means you can actually get in. This one is faux as far as I can tell. On the back side, I think it's one of I think it's the tree portrait or something. It's a lovely wood texture on the back side of it. A lot of people like to use it for cabinetry and such. Pardon me. For the handles, I suspect it's probably either the foot ends of a dresser or maybe even a bookshelf or something. And they just colored it to kind of match the green that's on the frame. Another eatery here. This time they're using the bars that actually have all the bottles in them. And this is the Marauder display, I think. Cover part pieces for the countertop itself. I like using this. One of those Protostar hatchery things. A lot of people were disappointed that the item wasn't actually see-through. It's more got this weird translucent opaque looking goo in it. And there's like 3 different versions, I think. But it's been fun that people have managed to still find ways to use it. So they're using it as kind of like a drink dispenser, I think, putting the little garden hose spout on the end. And of course, the beer tap hanging out here. Let's head inside dome here. Take a look at some of the wall ornamentation. This is a pretty little like ice flower. It's some of those, I think it's the glaciers. It's like the one that looks like it's 3, looks like kind of like a fan. And it's just like 5 or 6 of them stuck together to make this design. We've seen a lot of people that like to do the ice sculptures of like the animals and stuff. Um, we saw one where they use it as part of like the fish fins and such. It's a really fun item. I don't remember specifically if you get it from a vendor or what. I want to say it comes from one of the Arcterra vendors, but I'm not for positive. Here you have the little pedestal thing for the winners, first, second, and third place. I think the pedestals themselves are the base of the red firework. It's the one that has the red tip and the white base, and this is the base that you're seeing. For the different color hoops, this looks like one of the, honestly, I'm not sure. I think this one here is one of the Macari items. The blue one, I suspect, is an Ichthian one. This one, I have no idea. That's one of the neon signs, I think. And then the green one, I think, is a bowl, maybe. Maybe this is a bowl too, and it's just a different color. Honestly, I don't know specifically. It doesn't look like the same item all the way around. Again, for the little, excuse me, for the walls, it's a combination of regular walls and then curved walls for this. For the glassy, icy bit down below, I honestly am not sure. Now, I love the lighting here because it's just reflecting the shapes that you see here, even with the little spikes and stuff. It could be bones. I'm really not sure. Uh, with the little rivets, you mean here? Yeah, it's probably the bolt. This one, though, it surprises me because I thought the neon sign would like flicker. But maybe it's the other part of the sign that does, and this stays solid. Honestly, I'm not sure how that works. But it looks like the neon sign. I don't know. Um, but again, I think these are bowls as well. But I don't know what this part is. It could be an ice piece with something underlaying it to make it look solid. It could be that Imperial or Dominion shelf. It's kind of glossy as well. I really don't know what that is, but you can tell how shiny it is with the reflection. But I love how the light, the windows reflect off of here. It has the beautiful little shadow there. Awesome look. Great way to use up those flags. Let's go up above. Have a little VIP room. Again, I think this is that edge piece. A lot of us like to use it in 4, so it makes a full circle kind of table. Hover part pieces for most of the structure. The benches, again, it looks like they've played around with the color shifting just to kind of make it a little different. We've seen bleachers and stuff done like this, like with the wild ball event parks and stuff. Again, cover part pieces for most of this structure here. Here's the announcer's booth, I guess. Lots of little buttons and gadgets, not as complicated as some control rooms we've seen, but they're using the items that we have pretty readily available to make it look pretty active. So you've got like, I think this is the advanced thermometer, you've got a Macari table, several controllers, the lever switches, another control panel, the detonator over here. I think this is another Arctera panel. It's Gold Frost version, it's got the tube on there. And then these buttons on the side, I think that is, I'm not really sure. It looks like a bar of chocolate to me, but it could be a panel with like pillars sticking out of it to make the squares. I know there's some rockets that have the square bits. I'm not sure. Again, most of the panel itself, though, is hover part pieces. And then let's have a look at the dome from below. Now, if you're wondering about the chandeliers, those I believe are just the tall files, and they just kind of lumped them together to make these little blobby, like chandelier things. You can see hover part pieces for the topping here. This little bit, since it's moving, I suspect it's one of the WildStar Christmas hanging lights, the individual one. And I wouldn't doubt that they've got some lighting inset inside here. That's probably what helps them glow a bit. That's why you see a lot of lighting up here. There's probably also lighting up down below as well. Brightens it up. Better view of the part. There, you can see how they've got the chains for the chandeliers. Again, I'm pretty sure those are just files smooched together there. But can you imagine? I mean, this looks like a little skating rink kind of thing, but it could easily be made into a restaurant, having like all of the seatings around here, and then like the eatery where they're making the food down in the center. It could be a battle dome arena. So you have all the spectators up here, and then have the different layouts for competition. A meeting place, a guild hall of some sort is going to be part of it. Like a lot of things you could do with this. The awesome structure. Mind-boggling how they put it together. Okay, and as I suspected, what we saw from outside, the little tunnel to that big tall building out behind, it actually connects, and it's the Protostar Winterfest house. So here we are inside that. Obviously, they've kind of covered it up a little bit with wood. I think most of this is like pillars for this trimming. You got the ends of the pillars here and then the pillar itself. And if you look, you see they've done that with the ceiling as well. All pillars. I think it's the Orin version. Pillars, 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 like tons of them. For the stairs, for the edging on the sectional here, for the countertop, all of it. Pillars, pillars, pillars. How beautiful is that? Notice they've really had tons of fun with the color shifting for all of the walls and the seatings and bits. These little seats and the table, they're using those Palaver Point rewards. It's the tentacles, I guess, is what they're called. And I don't know which one specifically. I think there's like 3 different versions. There's a single tentacle, and then there's like, I think, a pair or a trio, and then they got like another bit. But they're topped with the purple pillows. And then they've got the little exonite trees as decoration and the balls. Again, color shifting on some of it to kind of dress it up a little bit. The bar itself, look at how cute these little chairs are. Again, pillars galore for the seating. Purple pillows in there. Here you have those files again, but they've color shifted them to make a little pastel-y rainbow below. Pillars again for the countertop. You can see a little bit of the gap been placed on there to kind of smooth it out. For the shelving, it looks like they're using multiples of bars. So it just looks like a repeat deal. So it's like 3 bars and then 3 bars on this side. You can understand what I'm saying there. For the lighting up above, it's the goblets, and then they have the orange sconce set inside there. So the sconce, I mean the goblet kind of just turns into a light fixture, little lamp shade up above. A clever use for that. Down here again, they're using that gooey protostar hatchery thing as a kind of a drink dispenser. And then they've made a dispenser with travel posters. We've got the, I forget what these are. It's a Red Moon item. I think it's from that decor pack. I don't know if it's a table or a seat or something. These are the legs sticking out. Then they got the teacups and then Chua cups with the little nozzles or whatever. For the sectional and the table, again, tons of those pillars. The pillars are even being used for the flooring. If you take a close look, you can see the texturing is just really oversized. And then they've got the edging pieces being used for the pattern. Green pillows galore for the cushion part. The base of the table is, again, it's part of the tree, Orin tree table, and they've just capped it with their own version. Look at that ceiling up there. Very bright and colorful. For the fireplace, again, pillars, 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 pillars. Then you have, it looks like some curved wall, and then the small campfire just stuck in there. It's very simple, but how awesome does it look? This just shows you don't have to overcomplicate it to make it look nice. Yes, some of us will add the little metal grill. Some will include a little pocket where they have the actual wood stacked up. Some will even go as far as putting in the like the poker and other utensils on the side here. Some will add a little rug in the front and pillows and stuff. But look how awesome it looks clean and neat and everything. It's just an incredible job. Now, if I zoom out, we might be able to get a good view of this picture painting thing up above. How cute that is. I honestly am not sure what all is being used here. I want to say these are the canary plants. I don't remember if those things actually move or not. I don't think I can get on the edge here. I may be able to get a closer look up above. Going up again, pillars, pillars, pillars. I don't know what they're using for the bits here, but they've color shifted it again just to really carry on with that colorful theme. Let's see if we can get a closer look. Yeah, it looks like the canary flowers. These here, I suspect, are domes. Two of them kind of tilted a little bit to make the leaf. And curved walls for the little stems of the leaves. And then possibly 2x4s for the bigger branches. That's my guess. For the chandelier, again, and the table bottoms and the railings here, all the tall files. This one is like the nozzle of the file is down and below. Here they're probably more inward and upward, and again down below those. For the tables themselves, it's just framed glass, cleverly layered up in a nice little pattern. This is roundish. We've seen some that's gone even more so there, and it just looks like a lot of stripes. We've seen some where it's just like 3 long ones. You can make all sorts of patterns, and this one's a very cute one. The stools, I think it's Orin windows for the caps on those. These bits here, that's some of those new Red Moon items. I assume they come from the Red Moon raid, but I honestly don't. And of course, this part here, I suspect it's just domes that have been recolored. Inside, I think that's the Orin chandelier that's been kind of blinged out with the files to make it look like something a little different. And then for the cushions, I believe that's snow blocks. Again, they've played around with the coloring, really jazzed it up. Over here we have a little, I don't know if this is like different kinds of teas or ice creams or candies in general or what, but the display case is pillars. It looks like Orin windows for the end caps and then curved glass, and then of course all of the pumpkin bowls are from the Shades Eve event. Once Shades Eve kicks in, the regular housing vendor has new items that get added to it, and the pumpkin candy boxes or bowls or whatever is part of that. So you can stock up every year for additional ones. With the color shifting now, it makes it a little easier if you just bought multiples of a single one. But yeah, and then of course they got the gingerbread candy trim up at the top. How adorbs is this? I mean, yes, they made it into kind of a little restaurant lounge area, but uh, easily this could, become more of a private home kind of deal. Over here we have the restroom, it looks like. Notice how they've kind of cleverly implied that this is a sliding door. It's just one of those uh, exotic panels. And they just left it open enough where there's no getting stuck with the collision. And then using the exotic decor for the cabinetry, the couch, and the bathroom stall itself. For the towels, it's just regular towels. I think the towel racks are actually just part of the cabinet here, and they've just pretended that it's actually got a little slot there for the towel to sink through. It's just kind of how they put it in. For the mirrors, it's plates, and then I think it's the base of another plate, the metal plate. Stuck on, so it's like two of them back, front to back kind of thing. Bowls for the sink, and for the spout, I think it's the end of the vertical pipe, like a really long thing. It's got a lot of little bumpy bits, and I think the end of it looks like this. It looks a little like almost like a weird sausage kind of thing. Um, it's one of the pipes that you can get from the Palavra Point Daily, the same place you could get those tentacles. But the pipes include like the sewage pipes where the sewage is coming out and there's a little bit of smoke, and it's got like vent pieces and the end cap that a lot of people like use for tables and seats, that kind of thing. So just an incredibly cute, quaint little, great use of this particular interior. I mean, who wouldn't want this in their place? Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Now I'm going to go back out. I think you can get to the interior from right here. I can get the button thingy to show up. Anyway, this is made to look like, I think, an elevator of some sort. So you got the little golden arrow, you've got some wall trim, and I think it's those lights again. I'm going to go around the other side real quick. I think it's the same place where that other thing is, right here. But I don't know if it's easier to get to it from here or from on the side. The buttons popping up is for the light here. Isn't what I'm looking for. Let me try it on the other side again. But I think in theory, you're meant to be able to access it from either or. I think last time I got to it from this side. Yeah, you can kind of see it where it flashes up. It's one of those deals, again, when you're covering up an entrance like this, it's really tricky on when or if the function button will pop up. You can see how just me turning my camera will make it disappear. It's just one of those quirky things. Sometimes, easier and sometimes a little more difficult. We've seen that with folks that like cover it with water and then with rocks and things, and then that's why the clues like this saying, yeah, there is something here, is helpful to encourage people to keep trying even if they aren't sure that something is there. Let's go inside. Again, hover part pieces for most of this structure. You see that they've got Chua version pillars, and we come out to where I presume the Olympians would be getting their exercise and stuff, their little workouts or training. So we've got the treadmills here. We've got some different little workout machines. I don't know what this one's called, the red one here, but it's travel posters, one of the control panels. This here is the top of that little depressing detonator thing. I like to use it for like ribbons and stuff. You got the Chua pillars for the little bar and this end, and then here is the braided floor panel. I think it's two of them together to make a little fighting seat. I think it's the one where you like pull something. I have no idea. Over here we have a little, I guess it's a bike. stationary bike. This one, whew, let me see if I can figure out what this cell is, because some of it's some of those newer items. Again, I think it's some of those Osun / Arctera trim bits. We've got suitcases here. I believe some of these bits here are the some of the pipes. I think it's the L-shaped pipe that you get from the Palavar Point Daily, and they've got like 2 of them together, make the little bracket. Sole frost tubing for the seat bit. Same here. Of course, the looks like tires for the base of the seat, and then the purple pillows for the cushion on top. This part here, I think, is muffler or some other kind of engine piece. Then you've got the advanced thermometer for most of the buttons and gadgetry up here. The handlebars, I think, again, are some of those. I think, again, it's like muffler. I think it might be 2 mufflers and then just kind of rotated, so it's like overlapped here but not here. And then the ends for the handlebars are some of that Starfall firecracker. It's the orange and blue one, but they've color shifted it to be more of a gray. Of course, the beach balls come from the summer decor pack, along with like the Barbie and beach towels and all that kind of goody stuff. These little workout mats are just the mattresses that have been color shifted. For the little dumbbells or whatever they're called, I think it's just the Protostar bombs, and they have that little bit on the end, and if they put them together, it looks like little weighted dumbbell thingies. Over here, the rack itself is pillars, and then some of those L-shaped tubes again, or not tube, pipe, L-shaped pipe. And then you got the tires with the sole frost wells inside, just to kind of jazz them up a little bit. And then the brackets here, or the beam or whatever it's called, those are again from the Starfall firework grouping. I think it's the Cassian candle, I think is what it's called. This here again, pillars, L-shaped, I keep wanting to call it tube, pipe, L-shaped pipe. Tires, sole frost again, notice that they did a color shifting. The yellow pillows, which have been turned pink, an airtight container, graded floor panels for the seat itself, and then that detonator handle again. Again, color shifted to a more yellowish looking color. Black and white for the gray version. And then here is that end cap pipe. It's the same place you get the other pipes from. And they're just using it as a table. Over here we have the kitchen / dining room. So you've got those edge piece hover part pieces for the table. For the little stove top here, again, it looks like pillars. This tabletop part, I'm not sure what that is, what the yellow part is. But it looks like they've inset a couple of stoves. So it looks, you can see the vents up above. Again, pillars, looks like they've been colored to a green and yellow for the kitchen decoration. For the fridge or freezer parts, it looks like a medical table. And then this, I think, is the propane tank, the very top of it, for the handle. Again, it looks like maybe wall edging for the countertop here. The sink is actually, they purposely inset it, that's why it looks a little patchworked here. It's travel posters, and then they've got the Red Moon vent. There's that weird little vertical pipe again. And then this part, I think, is another end cap up there for the handle. For the silverware, just simply, I don't think it's a 2x4. I think it's an edge of a wall. A 2x4 would work. Just tack your forks and knives and stuff up there. It looks nice and neat. If you're wondering about the little tea set, that is part of the spring decor pack, I think. Comes with saucers, cups, etc. The chandeliers here, that's just the heart light table lamp or heart themed table lamps. The set has like a table and I think it's a dresser and then the lamp. It actually, the table lamp usually sitting the other way, sitting on a table, but we've seen a lot of people use it this way. Again, a faux door. It's that back of the picture with the detonator handle there for the lever. Here we have a little sauna kind of thing going on. For the water, honestly, I'm not sure. It could be the bottom of a glass. It's been color shifted to more of a blue. I think the glasses usually have kind of a brown yellow look because they're supposed to be filled with beer. This I think is from the garden hose. The fire pit, it's a bowl, and I'm not sure about, might be part of one of the lanterns to give it that red glow. And then of course the swirly stones. Hover part pieces for most of this. And then I think the slats are probably some of those rocket fireworks. I think those have the little sticks they can use as this kind of bit here. I suspect. I could be wrong on a lot of it. I think it's the same thing being used for this part here. Another faux door, and then on this side we have the med area and the med kits, the hammocks, not hammocks, cots. The cabinetry here, again, I think that's medical tables. Reminder, there's two different tables that you can purchase from straight from the housing vendor. One's more expensive than the other, but it's the same identical table, so make sure you go for the cheaper option. Here's that body scanner everybody loves. We usually see the lightning bits. Sometimes it's just the handles. A lot of people like the little sign that comes up above. I say scanner, I think it's called body analyzer maybe. Not real sure on that. I think this is the scanner. I get the two terms quite a lot. I think the rest is travel posters. This part up here is an airtight container, and then the vent bits, I think, is the staircase. I think the little light above, if I'm not mistaken, that is the bottom of the emergency warning system thing. It's the cage with the dead canary in the bottom. The top of it has the red lights, and the bottom has the blue, if I remember right. If it's not that way, it's the other way. It's blue and red on the ends. Okay, let's see. Okay, making sure I visited all the places down below. That's where we came in. Notice the bits here. I believe these are the I don't know if it's the tiki torches or what. That's what it reminds me of. and then the glass, of course. I was tempted to say that they might be the uh, the tiki roofs, but just because of how closely they're positioned and the way they are, I don't think that's what that is. I think it's maybe the tiki porches. But honestly, I'm not for positive on what that is. Notice they've kind of faked in an exterior view. So it kind of gives you the illusion that you can actually look outside. So they got the trees and Arctera bits and the icicles hanging off. Thought that was kind of clever. Here's a little bedroom. How adorbs is this? It's hover part pieces. The pattern is from that metal plate thing. The mattress and the blanket is both the snow block. It's just been color shifted a little bit to make it look different. The base of this, again, I suspect it's some part of a tiki bit, either porch or the actual roof, just oversized, and they're using it as like the end tables. Here again, it's that pattern of the back of that portrait being used as some of the cabinetry here. 2x4s. Bathroom. Here's another one of those pipes. This is the not in pipe. It's I'm not really sure. It looks like we've seen several, and I think it was Maddie. It was one of them that used it as like for an old phonograph machine. Forget what it's called. To a cup, red moon vent, dome. For the rug on the floor, that's that heart themed coffee table. I call it the butterfly table because the blue part looks like a butterfly to me. The table is just oversized and they've sunk it down just enough where you don't see the table itself, you just see the blue pattern. Makes a nice rug. This little dresser cabinet thingy is the tiki bars, 2 of them together. Those plates again for the little handles, and then looks like cover part piece. A bathroom, got domes, cylinders, plate, another dome, and I suspect a cup or something for the base there. The brick here reminds me of, yes, it's granite version walls. And then I think just orange ones for the windows, mirrors with the pillars and the woods bits in there. Just a small space, but you know, you got all the necessities there for a bedroom feel. Another exterior window. Oh, you actually can't see the exterior from this interior, but they're giving that illusion as if you can, as if we're on the upper floor of that building that we saw from the outside. Again, another window shot. You're wondering about the ceiling. I think that's the exotic tables. They just used a couple of them to fill up that upper area there. Then we have 2 little library / lounge areas. Again, it's the orange chairs, just all of them sandwiched together to make this long sectional. Same way with the bookshelves, multiples of those thrown in there. The Soul Frost panel. This one here is actually part of the, I think it's the LOP file. and then some of the regular pillows thrown on. Could be just one also. This here for the pedestal, I think it's a couple of the um, Gothic pillars stuck together to make that tall bit. And here's another one, same style look as the other. It's just like a mirror image of it. And then again, a couple more window scenes. I consider it kind of like making a shadow box. You're just kind of faking it in. I don't know what they're using for the sky part. It could be the back sides of, say, the braided floor panel. You can see that the seam of the room itself, and they're just kind of got it sandwiched in there. Um, but I think it's a clever idea. It's just kind of another way of shaking it up a little bit. Another last look around. Great use of the space. Again, the bunker house. Ah, that would be why this door's here. So you can pop out. Notice how you're kind of like inside it. Again, when you're making these places and you're covering them up, um, always make sure that you don't get like your visitors stuck. That's probably why they had to put this little gap here, because if they left it solid to match the rest, that would mean that your visitor would end up inside the wall, which is not where you want your visitors. So they were forced to put that in. So I guess you enter on the one side and you just pop out on the other. Simple as that, peoples. Okay, so I think that's going to wrap things up for this plot. I hope you guys had fun with it. And I definitely hope it gives you some ideas. I know it's still a ways off for the next winter season, but what an awesome inspirational plot. Check out if you're considering making something winter related. You can see how they handled, things being snow covered. Notice they didn't cover this with snow. They didn't like put snow on every possible surface. Like the little archways here, I don't think they have snow covered on them. None of the lights do, but a lot of the building structures have the snow capping. And how they handled, other things like the landscaping. They basically kept it simple and focused on the other details. Um, doesn't mean you have to do an Olympic kind of setup yourself, but we've seen some that have like winter lodges where they have, skiing and ice skating and um, uh, little booths for like hot cocoa and stuff. There's all sorts of, you have your summer resorts, but you also have your winter resorts. And this could give you some great ideas like this little eatery here on how to treat some of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly had fun showing it off to you all. And I hope it inspires some of you to some of your own winter style plots. It's definitely with, in some respects, a little bit trickier because you're having to make up a lot of it. But since they've introduced a lot of the winter style trees and bushes and stuff, it's helped on at least the landscaping part of things. And certainly has its place depending on the type of season that you're going for. So yeah, uh, much fun. Super great stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can use even if you don't go for a winter plot. So definitely check it out if you can in person. Um, Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the tour. We'll hopefully be here next week. I'm kind of going to leave it open as far as if we're going to go back to communities or individual plots. I'll just kind of wing it from here on as far as what we get into, depending on how I feel for that day. Um, yeah, uh, we actually kind of went a little longer than I expected, even with my throat as dry and scratchy as it is. So we'll see. Anyway, hope you guys had fun. Again, thank you all for the follows, the tweets, the retweets, and generally just getting the word out to those that are looking for housing information and aren't sure where to start. Um, our channel is definitely a good starting point. It has a lot of resources built in. Again, if you have any suggestions for plots or communities that you'd like to see toured in the future that have yet to be toured or are due for a retour after having gone through a lot of changes, please do not hesitate to pass out that name to me. We'll be happy to add it to the queue list. In the meantime, good luck with your own projects, so whatever you happen to be working on. Don't forget, today is an extended maintenance. It's like 9 hours minimum, I think. Could be shorter if things go well, I guess, but expect at least a pretty lengthy uh, drop in WildStar for today at least. Um, have a great weekend. Have a great week. Hopefully we'll see you next time. Until then, have a great day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.